Thank you everybody for watching my last video. Managua, a dead politician walking, was about Zimbabwe. But today I'm going to reflect on something also closer to my heart because I have lived and studied in Cuba. And this video is why Cuba matters now. Well, why Cuba matters now? There is a lot on the plate. But this is geopolitics, and geopolitics sometimes are very complex. We never know what comes. The interests of different countries play around. Anyway, thank you for joining Resistência Urbana. Time to time, I talk about geopolitics and on my point of view, and also with facts and reality, experiences of life. After Donald Trump went to Venezuela and got Maduro, he thought now he can do anything, anyway, when he wants. And that was quite interesting. After that was Vladimir Zelensky for Ukraine, appealed to Trump to do the same with Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. And that put me thinking, if this guy say something like that, what somebody else will do. But anyway, these are geopolitics, and geopolitics are so complex and sometimes very dirty. But why Cuba matters now? Well, if you've been in Cuba, you study in Cuba, or you have visited Cuba, there's so many factors, and then you have seen many articles, and here also so much about the revolution. It's more than 50 or 60 years past this revolution happened, and things are degrading in Cuba, and Cuba has changed completely since then, morals, ethics, culture, and so forth, and that have to do with politics. But this hazaña of Mr. Trump in Venezuela vaulted him so high that he felt he can do anything, whenever weapon was used there. Money was the deal maker. If people are not paid, could not happen nothing, because Maduro was protected by the special forces and group of Cubans, people with a lot of military experience. We had the Americans say, no, they went to pick up Mr. Maduro clean, no deaths or lies. There have been a lot of deaths from both sides. Cuban even came out and brought out 35 men dead. We saw that Cuba was transparent on that. We didn't see from the other side, everybody tried to put the caution down and quiet. But what was interesting here is why he went to Venezuela. And why Venezuela? Many people sometimes say, oh no, because Hugo Chavez's revolution, communist. Yeah, indeed. Latin America is a very complex politics. People every 5-10 years enjoys certain kind of political environment, and then all of a sudden when the things start getting harder, difficult, they want to change. And that is all about democracy. But what happened in Venezuela, that democracy after the revolution of Hugo Chavez became a farce. And then that what was so easier, even with all weapons, technologies and everything was given to Venezuela, Venezuela bought, they could defend themselves. But the people, they had enough. They didn't want that. Why Maduro happened to him what happened. His own people give him away. That is the truth. The Cubans, they fought, but was his own people who give everything. So Maduro was taken away, and the United States built now a different case. But before that, let's stop here and reflect on something before to understand why Cuba matters now. We need to reflect on something. Let's go for a break. So before we go, so who I am? Well, I'm from Mozambique. In '84, I was taken to Cuba to study. And then since '84 to '90s, I live in Cuba. I went through all the political changes Cuba seen from 1984 to '90s, the collapse of the Soviet Union and all problems Cuba had. But there is something interesting in the question, why Cuba now? The United States, after and Kennedy, president in the '60s, tried to overthrow Fidel Castro, and it was defeated in the Bay of Pigs, and that was huge. Was huge because the Cubans at the time, they saw the United States as the bad guys due to the politics and policies. And poverty in Cuba was really, really something of other world. So Fidel Castro came in and gave them this idea and this prosperity that they could do it better in life if the revolution wins. Indeed, in 1959, January 1st, the revolution did win. So, since then, the rebels, this 26 July movement, create allies around the world. Allies in Africa and all over to free those who've been no free. And that gained a momentum with the Cubans and the international community. We heard about Che Guevara's and many things. But what's something unique within Cuba? The Cubans, they knew, they prepared themselves also with the little resources they had, that the United States will not see their revolution a good thing. So the Americans, they try, gave them a warning and notice. They blocked them, economical, financial, and everything. What the Cubans done, they turned to the Soviets, the Soviet Union, for support. And that way, the things changed. The Soviet Union support them in every single level. Believe me, in every single thing. Needles, you talk, you mention, seeds, whatever was needed in that island. The Soviets, they pour in every single they could. Aeroplanes, cars, tractors, spare parts, guns, missiles, aeroplanes, fighter jets, you name it. And the United States, when they tried to react, was too late. Was too late. Why? Because they've been emboldened. They're strong themselves. And then because of emboldened, strong themselves, they got a point where they say to the United States, hey, come. And they got scary because they didn't know what was happening there. So, what is the next chapter here? In 1984, I went to Cuba studying. As I said to you, I'm from Mozambique. So I was given bursary by the government. I arrived in Cuba in July, summertime. I could feel the smell of this Russian jet fuel, kerosene, very heavy when we get out of this aeroplane. And it's quite funny, it was an American aeroplane, DC-10, Douglas. I remember, a very strange aeroplane. Sometimes when we flying, going up and down, those kind of trips. So Yeah, I arrived in Cuba in July 1984. The euphoria was in the air. Cuba was the thing, the tingo. Everybody talks, everybody everyone want to have experience lifestyle and everything, the cigars, the drinks. I'm not a drinker. I've been there more than 10 years. I never drink, I never smoke a cigar. That is quite interesting. But when we arrived to Cuba, things change. And change so sadly in a second that even I could not believe that was happening to me. I was stripped completely of my own dignity. The last thing I had in my hand, my country passport, was taken away. And my identity was nothing. Was just the name that I bore, but I didn't have no documentation at all where I could prove otherwise I'm an African, I'm from. I thought that was a procedure. I thought that was something for the short term, for immigration control or so forth. No. Those passports disappear until the last day I left Cuba, until today. The last time I left Cuba, I didn't have any paper. Just was a name printed in a list. Somebody called Mr. X, get in the plane. And that was the truth. Anyway, so leaving Cuba the 1984 to 90s, what I saw, what I see, most of the life was just collective life. Everything you have to be together, share it. But it was strange moments, really strange moments, where you ask questions, but you don't get answers. You get the point. So leaving Cuba, I learned some great things. I grew from a young man to the man I am today. And I want to say thank you for the opportunity, to everybody helped me, to everybody opened the doors of their houses and gave me food, shelter, even become my guardians. But was something interesting, and this is something always been in my mind. Why never the United States at the time went to Cuba? That is a question, $1 million question. But after many years, on the late 89, 90, the answers start showing up everywhere. The Americans, there was no way the Americans, they could come in, because the propaganda and the willingness, the training, the maneuvers, the military maneuvers, every single end of the month was going on in the country. Everybody, even including me, we could manage AK-47s. We learned arm and disarm those arms. Kids in school, they have shelters, bunkers everywhere under our schools, and the fields where we play, where we work, every single place in that country there is a shelter underground. Is when I start understanding here, the game will not be above ground, the game will be underground. The Americans come here, they will see everything beautiful. Oh, there are people that are there, they're just doing nothing, let's bomb. But what was in the underground is when I start understanding. The Americans, they could not. I could hear things happening, spies and this and that. I could hear the press, the radio. Sometimes I had this radio that I had. Was not allowed to listen some news from the United States. And then I used to Because before I went to Cuba, I was an amateur, radio amateur. Somebody like here different stations. And then I knew how to do it. And then I was hearing what was going on around the world, in Colombia, in Brazil, in Guatemala, Salvador, and so forth. So that make me aware of the situation and give me peace of mind that was no way the Americans could come to Cuba. Was no way, because was no building, was no house, was no community where was no gun. Guns was everywhere. You move your left, you can know there is a armament dispenser in case there is a situation. You have to go present yourself in that point and move on. So that is one of the reasons Fidel developed the country in such a way that anybody comes from outside to inside to do anything. They had the CDR, they had the vigilance and everything in the schools and everywhere. They have like a group of people, shifts people, every night go around 24/7. Always was everybody alert. Drivers, taxis, hospital personnel, anyway, and ready to go. Ready to go for any casualties, farmers and everything. And that's why the Americans never went, because everybody was leaving Cuba that time, go to the United States. I was telling them, feed them, say, hey, those people, they have a gun even in the kitchen. And that is true. Some, they had the guns. You see this German motorbike they use in this World War II, three-wheelers. See, soon as you see those bikes around, going around the farms and everything, that was a guy from the government, an officer, collect information, what's happening, what's not happening, what going on, whatever. And people at the time, life was beautiful. Believe me, at the time, life was beautiful because the Soviet Union was pumping every single thing was needed. But over suddenly things change. When Gorbachev shows up, things start change. But even those changes, Fidel Castro keep pumping speeches, mobilizations, and so forth. They find alternative sources, and always things was possible. And the dynamics went on. But now let's go what matter. This is an overview of my experience. So, what now matters and why Cuba now? Matters because Marco Rubio have an agenda. Marco Rubio is an American, but his parents, father and mother, grandpas and everything, they're from Cubans. He's heritage Cuba. And this guy now is an American politician, way from Miami, Florida, where Trump really needed the votes. He needs the Latin community support to be re-elected. You know, the MAGAs, they have all other sides, but they didn't add the Latin vote. And that is where Rubio does a deal with the Trump. I'll support your agenda if you support my small change. Go after the Cubans. You got it? Next. So, it's a beautiful day here. The sun is out. So, Trump needs something. Trump is a character, a businessman. If you have watched this program called The Prince, the last chapter of that program, you can understand the whole narrative of Trump presidency. But the first term of Trump as a president was destroyed on his own egos, thinking the same way he used to deal with construction and housing, other things, casinos and so forth, will be the same mafia principle applied to politics. He bring big guns in, and those big guns at the time, they have their own agenda. We remember Mike Bolt and so many others. And then we saw what happened after. But always there is somebody somewhere sitting and watching and thinking, I can exploit this guy better in my favor if I do for him better what he needs. And there's Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio shows up in the radar and offers solution to Mr. Trump. Trump didn't take long to take the bite. He needs a second term and project himself as one of the best ever American presidents. That is the ego of Donald Trump. If we have followed the last chapter of The Prince, you will understand better and what I'm explaining to you. So Trump lays the cards on the table and look into all the offers he have. He needs somebody that can go out there and back everything where they can get money. And that is the greatest lobby of Israel. And that how Israel communities in the United States realize here isn't a chance, here's an opportunity. This guy, his daughter, is married to a Jew. Let's use this part and create a way that we can control him and we can do whatever we want. But unfortunately, not everything in life comes right. The Epstein files cover bloat everything. That was good also. Some way, somehow, we saw something here for first time that the Americans politicians, Americans, for them, what is more important is not their country, is the state of Israel. Whatever cost, the state of Israel is number one on that agenda. Even they have to sacrifice the United States power. So we saw Trump comes in power, and then the Rubio, because he realized petrol can make money, energy. He realized the war in Ukraine was not going in the way it should go, because the Russians or the beer showed the real teeth and the dangerous, the atomic, the nuclear phenomenon behind the deterrent of Russia. He changed his politics. He started to look somewhere else. And what he was looking was, because the time of him being in power is so short, and he needs money, he needs capitalize, he needs come out of politics emboldened and stronger and powerful. What he does, He talks. You want this, you want that, you want this, Greenland or other, and creates a discord with the Europeans. He started to create a mess that was already late prepared. Somebody knew how to do this and told them, we're going to do this, we're going to distract these people are going to get focused on that, and then we're going to cut the ties of these Ukrainians. We will still keep them alive to make sure Russia does not become financial and economical powerful. We're going to keep destroying critical infrastructure to weaken them, so to defeat them strategically. But we're going to go after the easy money. What is the easy money? Go after Venezuela. But who is in Venezuela? Cuba. Cuba has put their feet in Venezuela, and Venezuela became the source of survival. As Cuba became the source of survival in Venezuela, Trump thought, because they lost too much in 1959 in Cuba with the revolution, now it's time to turn around things by going to Venezuela, get Maduro, cut the life support of Cuba, and take that free oil and whatever they had, all the resource, as the 51 state of America. He made a joke. So that they manage. By doing that, they say, okay, we have suffocated Cuba. We have to cut the... No, they didn't realize something interesting here. Me, as I explained to you, I live in Cuba, and then I know something. Sometimes they say, I wish I didn't knew. Is how the spirit of this nation and these people are capable to live with nothing. I was there. The first time they called Period Special, I was there. And then I saw it, how they done it and how they survived it. This is where Trump missed. And that even not understand. Russia always has been feeding Cuba with another hand on the back. Russia always at the end, on the back, hidden end. They didn't want to antagonize the United States of America, so they used another way, another mechanics. So they waited, and they knew exactly when and how they're gonna do it. That's why Marco Rubio comes out and say, oh, Raul Castro had the company called Giza, whatever, the military. Come on, Marco Rubio. You think you are talking to children? We are not in a crash. We also, even we don't have satellites and spies and everything, we can sense, we can feel it, what's going on. Those companies, they are not there just for the Cuban military. There is a lot of Spaniards, Romanians, Americans, Canadians, Brazilians, you name it, even your own family playing the game. That is why Donald Trump decided to cut the Western Union remittance to Cuba, because was so much mixed masala. The Americans, they could not figure out where the money comes and goes and how the comes back to America. The money basically was just go 90 miles over there and 90 miles backwards. So it was a chain of traffic, and the treasurer knew about. So some people became blind, some people became whatever, never. They could not figure out, understand, but that is the truth. So the Russians, they realize he is money making. That's what we want. We want some way, somehow, we can make easy money. Let's show up in public. Let's talk about economics. Let's talk about this, talk about that. And this is the opportunity. And then when Rubio comes and say, oh, they have the money, they have, yes, indeed, they have. But they will not use that money to the people. Yes, they will not use because they need for that moment. And that moment is right now. Right now they need, because Russia will not give away anything without the church. Yes, Russia and China, they will protect Cuba because it's the only place in the American continent for them to get a gateway to different countries. It's the only place they can access. It was a nice video done by Discover History about the airport. How people fly from different destinations around the world to Cuba, and then from Cuba to the Latin American countries, from the Latin American countries, and then they go to the United States. And there is a roadmap to you understand. But anyway, why Cuba matters right now, I give you all the factors and elements. Because of Marco Rubio want to give a present to parents before the parents pass away. So that's why Marco Rubio started to negotiate with the grandson of Raul, and then things start to get tougher, and now they could not do a deal, and then say, okay, because you want to be so tough, let me indict your grandpa, and then you're going to show up in the table and accept what we want. The Cubans, they will not accept it. Believe me, the Cubans are very, very, very courageous people. They have shown in Angola and Cuba. If you heard about this battle, there is so small things happen in this battle, Cuba in Angola, that you sometimes will not understand how a man can bear so much, just for the name of his country. Here is what matters. The real big players now, they will never let the United States get their ends. So they haven't bold themselves, but they have made a mistake, a very simple mistake. And that was the policy of Obama. Obama was one ever president came with a very good strategy. Let's open the gates. Let's flood that country with prosperity. Whatever never will happen there. Let's the money, because he had the vision. He could see what happened in Venezuela. But to happen what happened in Venezuela, the people have faced to experiment how money can change their lives. By cutting that money, they miss the real opportunity. By not having enough intelligence sources in, now they think they can apply the same trick. Unfortunately, something else happened here. Israel was on the standby. Hey, I have given you money, I have put you as a president, I have given you everything. Now I need my business be finished with Iran. Is there where things messed up? But it's not a chaotic scene. It's manageable. But the question is, are the Americans ready to risk all for this small piece of land, 90 miles, what will be the reaction? Think about what Hezbollah is doing to the IDF. Think about the drones between Israel, Ukraine and Russia and vice versa. Think about this new technology, what can bring into the United States for first time. Here's a big problem. You don't know humans. Humans, they can react different ways. I saw a video, a quite interesting video of an American citizen, this guy called Elliot. He went to live in Spain to learn Spanish and then go to Cuba. And see everything what is happening. And after that, produced so many videos and came and share and show us how things are in Cuba. And Cubans are still 90 years old, standing and say, here, we are firm with the revolution. And show us so different facets of the United States, what's happened life in Cuba. And people still there for their own revolution. And that is what's happening now. Even with all this power that the United States can project, we have a problem, a serious one. We have a mad cow out there that wants to give a present somebody for some reason that is not bad. If me, I could do the same. But it's the consequences. It's the consequences. 100 million are not enough to change Cuba. $100 million are not enough. To change Cuba, you need $1 billion. Will the United States be ready to spend $1 billion? There is a question. They can't spend $1 billion to get the uranium out of Iran. They will spend $1 billion to go after assets they don't have no longer in value. Yeah, will be a good investment in the long term, but life is short. No human live 100 years. Those who live, they're few. And here is one the reason. Will the parents of Marco Rubio live 100 years to see that dream come true? And that is the reason why now. Thanks. Leave your comments, subscribe in the channel, enjoy it, share. Gracias a todos que pudieron escucharlo. A lo mejor un día en español. Resistencia Urbana. Subscribe, share, and give a like to the video.